Everyone's hiring SDRs. Meanwhile, I've actually never even hired one single sales rep. I run an outbound agency. We send about 300,000 cold emails every single month. I book all from 300 up to 500 meetings just for my outbound campaigns across a stack of different clients and without any SDRs being on my team. I built the whole thing myself, and I'm going to walk you through it completely live, no slides, no theory, just what our agents actually work, how they look like, why it works, and how you can actually build one yourself. Alright, so we have 4 layers. We have the signal layer, we have the data layer, and the campaign, and also the reply layer. Signal finds who to actually reach, while the data one gets their contact details and their information. The campaign sends the emails, while the reply handles what comes back, and that's pretty much the entire loop. So every layer is a code that my agent runs. I actually run a few different agents depending on the structure, because it depends on the client. So nothing is pretty much a black box. So when something breaks, I open the file, put it into Codex or Cloud Code, and then I move on. So one thing to know before we start: if your outbound is working, it's most likely one of 2 layers. It's the signal layer, meaning you're targeting the wrong people, or it's the data layer, meaning you can't actually reach the ones you targeted. Copy is almost never the problem, and I know it's an unpopular take, but let's go. Alright, so we have the signal layer. This is my prospecting agent, and how it works is an example. So I set up this specific workflow for one of our clients. It looks something like this. It looks pretty messy, but what it did is we would automatically monitor specific leads from prospects who are engaged with my client specific target audience or their ICP. So this is all engagers from one specific lead magnet that our competitor basically posted on LinkedIn. So we would have their details over here, see if they have commented, like the post content, things like that. And so that's the signal layer done. And now before we can actually use this list, we need to get their contact info or their key details for these people, and that's the data layer. So here's the list of the actual signal layer. We have like names, companies, the job titles, but we don't have any emails quite yet. And so since we do a lot of cold outbound, we need their email addresses. So ideally work emails, personal emails would work if we can get them as like a fallback. And of course the phone numbers if the client wants to do some warm calling or cold calling. And here's also where most people mess this up. They pick one database to pipe the list through it, and whatever emails comes out they send to, and if someone doesn't come back with an email, they either skip the person, or they guess a pattern like first name dot last name at company.com, and then they send anyway. Both are really bad ideas if you ask me, and here's exactly why. So no single database covers everyone. Like Apollo has some people, Zoom Info might have somebody else, Sales Navigator has some people. So the point is nobody has everybody. One database might cover 40% of your list, while another might cover 55%, and the overlap would be like 30% maybe or so. So that means if you're using just one source, on a good day you're missing half of your list, and that's basically half the people you should be reaching that are just invisible or just gone, right, that you can't reach. Meanwhile, the people you do get, some of those emails are stale. So that person, for example, might have left the company a year ago or 2, you still send it, it bounces, your domain reputation drops, it tanks. I've been saying this on LinkedIn for like 9 months at this point. You have to fix the data layer first, and everything else is downstream. So how we like to fix this is through a waterfall enrichment system. So that means you hit multiple different sources in a sequence. So if option 1 doesn't work, we use option 2. If option 2 doesn't work, we use option 3, and so on and so on. So you take the first valid answer essentially. So, and of course you need to verify those email addresses as well once you get the output. So here, for example, we start off with enrichment to just find each prospect's LinkedIn data, like their enrichment, such as like their company details, their names, their title, things like that we wouldn't get initially. And at that point, we still need to find their specific email addresses if our enrichment number 1 couldn't find it. And so how I like to find these email addresses of our list is I like to set up this waterfall enrichment system in place. So we like to have better contact pretty early and then waterfall enrichment. So if Apollo doesn't find their email address, we would continue to better contact. If they wouldn't continue, we would use these different providers right here. And so what this does is we would use multiple different providers to find one specific email address that we would then verify. And so here's what happened when my agent processed a lead. So we have their email addresses. And now once we have the contact details, like their names, their company, their email address, we know that we actually now have their verified email address that is safe to reach out to. We continue on to the third one, which is the campaign layer. So here we actually do the sending of the emails. We have these warmed up inboxes and the campaign copy setup in place. And I usually don't touch this manually. So here, for example, we have set up this qualification system in place where for this client, they wanted to reach out to, their offer was UGC. So we wanted to find specific companies' apps and their app description. So we have this all different AI agents right here that finds their app depending on the input and then outputs a specific copy. That would then, of course, reference each lead to the specific campaign. So one lead might go to this campaign, the other one might go to the other one, and then we have a few more here as well, depending on the lead category. So some would go to like D2C campaigns, app campaigns, B2B campaigns, things like that. And so once we have completed the campaign setup, we're on to the reply one. And this is pretty much what happens after we've done the actual sending when somebody replies to the campaign. So we have built this in-house agent that grabs the reply, it classifies it replies back and forth, overcomes their objections. So if it's a positive reply, it will reply automatically. At the beginning, we actually did start off that we had this like human touch in place. So back in the days, we wouldn't really trust AI that much. So we would get pinged by the AI instead and say like, hey, this leads need some human touch. They want to get called, for example. They want to get booked for this specific day or so. But at this point, we built it all through Smartlead, Vercel, and also GitHub right here. And so this AI inbox manager, it's synced to my internal platform as well. And here we can modify the settings for the inbox manager, where we have given it like custom instructions, where we've given it the client-specific Calendly token and the specific Calendly link. So it always knows, like references real available times for each lead and knows what the actual booking link is. And of course, if it should follow any specific instructions or so. And what this does is we automatically respond to the leads 24/7 within the first 5 minutes or so. So it also auto categorizes the leads as well. So these custom manual leads here, for example, these are all leads where the AI inbox manager has sent over some more information, and now they have ended up automatically in our like internal follow-up subsequence as well. And of course, for some clients, we also have a different workflow set up. So here, for example, we had this client where they wanted to get each warm lead specifically, their phone number. So we push all positive replies to a clay table using webhooks, where we then set up a waterfall enrichment system to get their phone number. So here we could see that we got their leads mobile phone number that we would then push to Slack, to our specific client's Slack channel. And then they would get pinged like, hey, this lead just replied that they're interested in a meeting or so. Here's also their phone number. Feel free to give them a call or so. So does this actually work? So we've used exact this system to scale companies like Border to over 1,000 booked sales meetings in under 4 months. Ramdam, they got 42 meetings in the first 30 days. Decipher, they got 96 meetings in 6 verticals. And I always use this system myself, of course. So this isn't something that I just install or sell to my clients. This is something I actively run for myself. And I have gotten myself 70 booked meetings the past 30 days just from my own systems. So it does work. And of course, when something breaks, I get pinged by my Cloud Code agents as well. So I know within an hour, and when something breaks, I can fix it pretty quickly and ping Cloud Code, and it can also, even in some cases, automatically fix the actual issue. So I've been running some version of this for a while now. If you check my LinkedIn, there's a stack of posts documenting the data layer alone. So yeah, if you want the recipes, they're there as well. How are you currently handling your data layer? I'm super curious. Drop it in the comments. Honestly curious what other people are running. All right, that's it. Catch you next one. Bye-bye.